Okay, so now let's talk about language. Like I said just a few minutes ago, language is really exponentially getting better and better and better. So think of that infant, think of that, that old infant, that 12-month-old that going into the toddler years, they've got 3 to 5 words. The average 2-year-old has a comprehension of 300 words. So what that means is that they understand about 300 words. So if you're giving them simple commands, um, they're able to understand all of that word, all of those words and those commands. They have increasing level of comprehension of what things mean and what what you know what things are. So, in other words, animals and objects and things like that, they understand those things. So, at 2, they have 2 to 3 word phrases. Okay. So, that means that they're putting 2 and 3 words together to say phrases. So, I go, or, um, so at the age of 3, they can use simple sentences. So here's my easy way for you guys to remember um, language. So the 2-year-old, 50% intelligible, okay? 2 to 3 word phrases have a comprehension of about 300 words. The 3-year-old, they're speaking in simple sentences. They're 75% intelligible. In other words, 3/4, right? 3. So you can remember that. Um, and then the 4-year-old, we're going to get to that in preschool, but I just want to say it right here so you guys can write it down and remember it. The 4-year-old's going to speak in full sentences, be 100% or 4/4, right? 100% intelligible, and really have a conversation with you back and forth. Okay. Um, think about the toddler. Gestures precede this language, so they are using their hands. They're using like grunts and things like that. That's going to help you understand them, get their point across. Right. Okay. They're independent. They have mood swings, and this is understandable because they have an agenda. They have things that they want to do. So this is where you start to see that strong-willed child, really exert that independence. They're volatile. Okay, so this is where you can have the child that is happy 1 second. They might not get what they want or what they want to do, and so they're throwing themselves on the floor, screaming and kicking because they want to do something and it's just not feasible at this time. So they're learning to dress themselves, they're feeding themselves, they're undressing themselves. So all of this is revolving around their independence and their willingness and wanting to do things on their own. Okay, parallel play, 2 kids playing next to each other, right? So they're not playing with each other, they're playing next to each other. That's the idea of parallel play. Little emphasis on gender stereotypes, and I really hone in on that because they really have no idea that there are those social gender stereotypes. And so let me point one out that's pretty common. Okay, so all women cook and all men mow the lawn. Okay, so men work outside, women work inside. Well, we know now that that's a gender stereotype. That's not always the case. Um, and they don't appreciate that at this age. They know no different. And that's what makes it really beautiful, actually, that they are just learning and they are just sort of doing what comes natural for them. And that's a really good thing. Um, Tactile play, educational toys and books. They're interested in reading. They're bringing a book to you. They want to sit on your lap and read. So reading is one of the best things you can do at this age because that is the best way to develop that language. Okay. Um, Toilet training. Okay. Um, Sibling rivalry, temper tantrums, and negativism. Let's talk about these things. All right, so let's talk about these things. Okay, so let's talk about toilet training. So we talked about that voluntary ability for sphincter control, right? So that ability to sort of hold your pee when you really have to go pee. And that happens between 18 months to 24 months. So between 18 months and 2 years old. What other things do we see? Well, we see them have the ability to stay dry for longer periods of time, right? They have that fine motor ability to pull up and pull down their pants. That's actually a skill they have to acquire to be able to get their pants down to go potty. Um, they want to please. So this should be a positive experience. And I always tell parents when I'm in clinic that a child who's ready to toilet train will toilet train almost instantly. They actually toilet train themselves when they are ready to toilet train. All they need is to be taught how to do the logistics of it. Okay? A child who's ready to toilet train is basically potty trained instantly. So they want to please. It should be a positive experience. They want to do the right thing. And so if you have to discipline and you have to yell at them and those types of things, they probably weren't ready. They're curious, okay? They're curious as to, for instance, why mom sits on the potty to go pee-pee and why daddy stands. These are things that they're curious about. And then they want their wet and their soiled diapers, they want them off, okay? These are all things that show sort of that readiness to go potty on the big girl or big boy potty. Okay, nutrition. Let's talk real quick about this sort of phenomenon of this physiologic anorexia. Okay, so this is what we call that toddler anorexia, and it's not anorexia in a sense of an eating disorder, but what it is this notion of, well, they were really good eaters at 12 months and 13 months, and now they don't eat anything, and they won't eat what I give them. So what do parents end up doing? Well, they end up becoming short order cooks. In other words, they end up saying, "Oh my gosh, they're not not eating the broccoli and the chicken and the salad or the rice that I'm giving them, so I'm going to make them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or I'm going to make them chicken nuggets or macaroni and cheese." And so what happens? Well, they end up becoming this child that demands a certain food every meal. And so I encourage that you do not become short order cooks. We have to tell parents this. We have to say, this is what you're eating. This is what we've cooked. This is what's provided. And if you don't want that, then you're going to have to go hungry. And it's okay that they miss meals every once in a while. They will eat when they're hungry. They will not starve themselves. Okay? This physiologic anorexia is not an eating disorder. It's normal. They're so busy learning and so busy out there in the world exploring, they sort of eating takes on a secondary sort of, it's not important. Grazing, this notion of grazing. So I am a huge pusher of structured snacks. I don't believe in a child has to have a snack in their hand at all times, in a cup, carrying it around just to be happy. Okay? That's why kids don't eat even when they are hungry, because they've been grazing on goldfish all day and then they're eating whole milk and they're not going to be hungry at lunch and dinner time. So they don't have to have a snack in their hand all the time. You have structured snacks and you have healthy snacks. You want to provide high nutritious snacks for them. Milk has decreased to about 24, maybe 30 ounces a day. I would go down as even low as 16 would be normal, 16 ounces. Milk is not their source of nutrition anymore. They need milk for the fat, for the vitamin D, and for the calcium. That's it. Not because it's a source of nutrition. Their nutrition is coming from their meals, and that's why it's important that milk is offered with meals, not all day long with snacks. Otherwise, they're not going to eat at all. About 12 hours of sleep a day, and by about 3, they have an adult sleep pattern. In other words, they might be cutting out naps. They might nap frequently, infrequently. In other words, they might have sporadic naps. But they're sleeping all night long and taking a nap sort of when needed. Good teeth brushing. You want to make sure that they're brushing their teeth twice a day. When all the teeth are in place, you want to make sure that they're flossing because now the teeth are close together. Fluoride in moderation is very, very important. Fluoride, when swallowed or when ingested in large amounts, is neurotoxic. So you want to make sure that you don't provide a fluoride supplement or toothpaste prior to them being able to swish and spit after toothbrushing. Limited sugar, okay? And this includes things like goldfish, crackers, gummies, things like that. Structured snacks. When a child eats goldfish or crackers or Cheez-Its or whatever it may be all day long, that is sugar that sits on their teeth. And that is why you then have dental caries and cavities by the age of 3 and 4. Injury prevention, okay? Car seat safety. So car seat safety, this is the new recommendation. Babies and toddlers should be rear facing until the age of 2 at a minimum. This is probably going to be extended to 3, and it probably should be already. Okay, what we know now is that the spine around between the ages of 2 and 3, it solidifies. So it's much better structure for protecting the spinal cord. Okay, so in the event of a head-on collision, a child is 500 times safer rear facing. That means that the neck and the head, the brain, are 500 times safer. So you may break a leg because they're tall and they're bunched up on the seat, but that is completely fixable. A head, a brain, a spine, not fixable. Okay, if that gets injured. Okay, drowning. They're fearless, they're extremely mobile, and they're top heavy. So if they fall into a body of water, whether that's a pool, a lake, a river, whatever it is, even a bathtub, they're going head down. Burns, they're now tall enough to reach the stove. They can pull things down on top of them. They are completely mobile. They can pull coffee on top of them, whatever it may be. And then poisoning, of course, they can get into cabinets. They drink things. They have no inhibition. Okay, they don't understand that they can be hurt. They have no idea. They have no awareness of that. So they are just 90 to nothing, 24 hours a day, and they have no inhibition that they can be hurt. All right. Injury prevention. Yes. All right. That's it of toddlers.